Hi everyone, welcome to another Nature Walks video. You join me today on a bitterly cold January morning up in my local woodland. And today what I want to show you is a tree that you can learn to identify, a really easy one to have a look for. I call it a tree, but technically it's a shrub. And the reason it's a shrub is because it doesn't grow as tall as the tallest sort of canopy trees, and tends to have a multi-stemmed base. But I will use the term interchangeably, so forgive me if I call it a tree when it's technically a shrub. But for all intensive purposes, it looks like a tree. So let's have a look at it. So it's this one here, just behind me. So this one here. And you can see it's got that multi-stem base that I said for shrubs. So how do you identify it? Well, the best way to identify any tree in the wintertime is to have a look at the buds. The buds are the best characteristic for you to get to know. And this one has really characteristic buds. So they're not that typical sort of rounded or teardrop shape. They're much more like fingers growing out of their bud bases, and you can see that they're growing in opposite pairs, so one on either side, all the way up the stem. But the main characteristic is that they're really velvety. Can you see? Just all along, even the branch itself, but particularly on the buds themselves. And people often say they look a little bit like the young fawn ears of a deer. Or I find the easiest way to remember it is it reminds me of Yoda's green ears. So I often think this is as the Yoda's tree, which we'll link in a minute. But the other thing you can look for is they've got these amazing, if you get slightly higher, these amazing apex buds. So the ones right at the end. So you can see it's got this almost like little ball that's then sort of either side of it got the ears, which is why I think it particularly looks like Yoda. That's, for me, it just looks like Yoda's head. So anyway, so what is the actual tree? Because it's not called Yoda's tree. It's called Wayfaring Tree. And it's called the Wayfaring Tree because in the 16th century, a botanist noticed on his walk to and from work and from home this tree that was always seeming to be on the edge of the path or in a local hedgerow. And so he called it the Wayfarer, or the Wayfaring Tree, which signifies it's the marker of his journey home. So it's quite a nice little story about it. But it's a particular tree that loves calcareous soil. So if you ever see it, there's a good chance that you might be standing on calcareous soils. And it's a pretty good tree for wildlife. Beautiful flowers that come out in the spring, and I'll probably try and do a video later on to show you that, and beautiful berries that the birds like to eat, although they are poisonous to us. It's part of the viburnum family, which is not a tree that we want to eat anything from. So beautiful tree, great one to look for, easy to identify, and it's always typically on the edge of a path. So you can see here I'm just on the woodland edge, and it always seems to grow just on the edges of where there's a glade or where there's lots of light. So a really nice easy one for you just to keep an eye out as you're wandering on a local walk, a local winter walk at this time of year. So look out for Yoda's ears as you wander around. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.